NRL Round 5, New Zealand Warriors up and over South convincingly 34-4. Let's take a look how this one played out, team. Hey there, welcome back into the Warriorholic. Absolute pleasure to be here on a Sunday. Just finished watching the game for a second time. Outstanding effort from the boys. Man, that makes you smile with 5 of our top line players out, delivering such a clinical effort, particularly in that second half. So going to be a bit of a pleasure to go through this one today because there's not too many stats or any parts of the game that we lost in this one. Damn, absolutely stoked. We've finally got that clinical effort we've been looking for. Let's start out by having a bit of a look at the team stats here. So pinching these from the NRL match centre so you can see the home teams on the left there. So looks a bit ideal, but South with 4 points to 34 to the Warriors though. 45% possession versus 55 for the Warriors. Doesn't really tell a story, but I think it's a part of the field that we had that possession, and man, SJ's kicking game had them camped in their own like 20-metre zone for so much of that game, fighting it out there. So I think if I had a chance to dig out the stats for time and opposition half, it would probably be something like 70-30. Possession time there, 30 minutes to the Warriors, 24 to the bad guys. 63% completion from Souths versus 86 for us. So I think as much as we want to be excited about how well we played, we've got to bear in mind that South played terribly. And I feel for their fans, for their coaches. Just nothing about that looked like the South team you'd expect, particularly in a game against the Warriors where they sort of step up. Latrell Mitchell ran for about 86 metres there. Every time he took a kick, he'd quickly pass it off to a winger like he didn't want to take it into contact. Cody Walker, pretty much non-existent other than a couple of cheap dog shots, copying his mate old Latrell. Tip tackles, elbows to the face, head highs, knees to the face, you name it, that guy did except play with heart for his team. I feel sorry for South fans looking at those two with the attitudes at the moment. I think Tui Tupo-Thompson coming in there, only in about his 9th game. He had a really solid game there, managed to put that good step on CNK when he fell over in their first try. Milne had a good game on the other side there, but yeah, Latrell just didn't seem to really want to do any of the hard work. Cameron Murray, thought he had a good game as always. Cook until he went off. But I just think we dominated them in the middle. We definitely dominated them in the ruck. Overall, really disappointing, not what we expected from the Rabbitohs. I'm sure there are going to be a few calls out for the coach's head after that continued poor effort. So looking at the attacking stats here, 178 runs for them at 196 for us. But the difference here in meters, 1,500 versus 1,860. Man, post-contact meters, we won that. Line breaks 6-3 to us. Tackle breaks 32-23. Average meters per set, 42 versus 37. Kick return meters. This is a massive stat that indicates the field position there. Just 97 kick return meters for them. SJ putting it on a dime all day. Rocco Berry, Mitch Barnett, Jacob Laban when he came in. Also, like even on the right-hand side there, Adam Pompey, and that even on the left-hand side there, from times Adam Pompey, when we kicked up that side, was chasing up, locking them in the corner there. Chan's having a field day, 234 kick return meters, too easy. You heard that mentioned in the commentary. Just a lack of effort, I think, on their part, allowing us to get so much momentum there. Our back 5 doing the damage with those meters once we got that roll on. 10 offloads to them and only 5 from us. It was interesting. I felt like we were still really conservative in our attacking game, which is obviously, it's a game plan. We had more last week, but I think this week it was just about wearing them down, being consistent, respecting the ball. I wouldn't have even noticed that they had 10 offloads, to be honest. It's one of the few stats they won. Tackle efficiency, they did all right, 89%. We had 88, so we weren't quite up to standard. They did pretty well. But total tackles made, what do they make there? 55 more tackles than us, so that's 10 extra sets on defense. 32 missed tackles, 23 for us. So 33 is not huge. For a game, and 23 is actually not too bad at all. It's pretty good. But again, we 10 less sets on defense than them. 18 ineffective tackles from us. But it doesn't worry me so much for the ineffective tackles, because generally we're able to scramble really well when someone bounced out of a tackle there, and we didn't let away too many line breaks. SJ kicking 24 times for 609, well, mostly SJ, their total kicks 24 for 692 metres versus them 15 kicks for 496. Man, their errors let them down hugely, not getting to the kicks too often. We just, man, clinical getting our kicks away and pinning them down in their own bloody, on their try line there. Kick defusal much better from us this week at 100%, but they had very little opportunity. I don't recall them putting any attacking bombs in all night that really put us under pressure. So that stat looks good for us. 15 errors for them, but only 8 for us. And I'd say probably 6 of those come in the first half there. So pretty happy to get well down into the single figures for the errors, which I've been calling out for a while. Just the 4 penalties conceded and 3 ruck infringements. I've got to say, I thought they were penalised more than that. It seemed like one part there they had like 5 or 6 penalties and ruck infringements in a row there when we were on attack. It didn't even look like they were sending someone to the bin there. And you would have thought that, Latrell must have gone close there with all of the 2 on report. So I thought the second report, you get 10 in the bin. But anyway, protected species and all that shit. So overall, I think when you compare the 2 teams, one team was in it, one team was focused, one team had a game plan, was playing as a team. The other team, I just don't think they've got the culture, to be honest. Man, I've said it before, you can't have a team built around 4 or 5 stars and you're not getting that one team spirit. I was really impressed by Webby's pre-game interview there on Fox, talking about how our fringe guys, the likes of Tamati Martin or Adam Pompey, Tom Ali, willingly want to get back into our cup team to work on whatever it is that has been keeping them out of top grade, delivering, improving themselves. And it's just like that whole squad of players, the top 30. No one's kicking stones, no one's getting pissy. Adam Pompey, Tamati Martin this week, 2 classic examples of guys who started last year as first choice picks. Adam, for the whole season, weren't first choice picks this year, went back, worked on their game, and as soon as they got an opportunity, they came back and just smashed it up. Jacob Laban coming in, out of cup, didn't miss a beat. You wouldn't have even guessed he was on debut. So I think that whole mindset's the big difference between the 2 clubs at the moment. And you'll see the likes of Penrith. A lot of people give them shit. I often mention this about their over-exuberant try celebrations or whatever, but I don't think they're doing it to be dicks. I think it's just a genuine squad of guys who love working hard and playing with each other, and they celebrate their achievements like we do. So I think it's just great signs, showing the depth, showing the team mentality. But for South, I really don't know where they go from here. I don't even think, well, change your coach, mate. If you're going to change that coach, you're going to have to get someone in who's very strong-willed and can handle those big personalities, because I think there's only a couple of coaches in the whole comp who could really handle Latrell. We saw what Wayne Bennett did with him. I think he's a classic example of a guy who was able to control those personalities. But hey, on to the more positive stuff. Let's get to our team. First up, fullback, my man Chance. Shit. All this talk about RTS and what he was able to achieve, and that he should stay there, predominantly by a lot of people outside the Warriors, and not necessarily from Warriors fans, but there were definitely a few people saying that. But I never forgot what Chance did last year. For me, his work rate, his ball playing, his professionalism, like I posted on a couple of my social media platforms, that photo of him and the team huddle there at captain's run, just the focus in that guy's eyes. How could you not feel bulletproof running out next to him? So 80 minutes, 23 runs, 260 metres, multiple sets here, running 2 hit-ups per set, 68 post-contact metres, 1 line break assist, 2 try assists, 5 tackle breaks, just the 2 missed tackles. The first one, he slipped, but he missed it. Shit, but he made up for it. 2 errors. I gave him 9 out of 10 just for that missed tackle and the errors. Shit, I mean, if I'm fair, I should have given him a 9.5. There's not much he didn't do right. Just such a massive addition to us. And I think a lot of people who maybe don't watch in a detailed level don't realise how much his ball playing and his support plays improved. I think that's one thing RTS still has to work a bit on is his distribution. He's great with ball in hand. He's a great individual runner, great on defense, but he doesn't link up anywhere near as much. Doesn't get the ball playing going anywhere near as much as CNK. So he really unlocked his side this week. We saw that try he put away for RTS there. Just those silky hands, the ability to draw a man straight on up the attack. So stoked to have him back. So stoked he got through the game. Man, how do you do that first game back this season? Not human. Then RTS on a wing. I thought this would come. I said it on Twitter earlier on in the week. Could have got laughed at a bit, but I thought it was an obvious choice that you wouldn't put Adam Pompey out on the wing. He's now at centre, and I thought it was going to be interesting to see RTS out wide there with a bit more space. 80 minutes here, 15 runs, 162 metres, 53 post-contact metres a try, a line break, 3 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, 6 tackles and no misses this week. After a bit of a rough week there at fullback in the one era, I gave him an 8 because it doesn't show up in the stats, but 2 or 3 times when they got those line breaks down their left, our right, RTS he was standing quite a way in from the touchline to begin with, but he was jamming very early on and getting it wrong, not trusting his man Rocco inside him, which is something, hasn't played on the wing for a long time. New combinations there with Mitch Barnett over on that side as well. So I had to take a couple of points off of that, but all in all, he had a bloody solid game, and it's just like, having both him and CNK on the team at the same time, man, they're going to start eating up some meters once they sort of start building those combinations. So solid effort from the big fella in his 200th. Great to see all his whānau and friends over there celebrating with him, and I'm sure the team really would have enjoyed delivering a big win for him on that milestone occasion. Rocco Berry, interestingly, when I called out, over my various social media platforms as to what who people's man of the match was, Insta was a little bit of a mix. X or Twitter, pretty much 100% Wade Egan. I think, it was Wade Egan, SJ, Rocco Berry. But on TikTok, it was like 90% people calling out Rocco Berry as man of the match. And it really makes me smile. I remember going back during COVID when I posted a couple of videos to just show the little micro skills he was demonstrating. He's just so good at the fundamentals. And people laughed at me, told me he was never going to be any good. I could just see it. He's just, a lot of people focus on the flashy shit and they don't notice the fundamentals that this guy does well. To turn and just to chase down White in there, absolutely cut him down in that, same thing, nailing Cody Walker when he put that chip through. He's just so good at getting those fundamentals right, but seeing him start to bulk up a bit now, that try he got, it's a solid try. And I'm going to say that he's probably got the best kick chase in the NRL at the moment, and he's got to be close to sort of top 5 or 6 centres based on form. Looking forward to the long term with him, and with the likes of Ali Lautel when he finally makes it up there. Could be one of the best centre combinations in the NRL going forward. So for me, I gave him an 8.5. Look, I wanted to give him more, but just the 38, 5 runs for 38 metres, 8 post-contact metres is where it dropped down for me. 1 try though, 1 line break off just 5 runs is pretty good conversion rate. 3 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 19 tackles, 1 missed and a penalty. I said it again last year. I don't know if it is actually a thing where Webby asked him not to use all his energy, doing the hard runs and saving that for the kick chase, because when you've got the likes of RTS, CNK, Montoya and Pompey, they're covering, with CNK doing 2-ups, that's 4 or 5 of your runs per set. So there's not a real need for him to get in there and smash himself up. So he has been up around 100 again. I don't know, is it something that he's sort of, been actively told to reserve that energy? But for that reason, I dropped them down to an 8.5, but could have easily given him a 9 or more. Adam Pompey, again, very, very solid. 80 minutes, 13 runs for 114 metres. 44 post-contact, 14 tackles, 1 miss, 1 error. No big flashy stats here of line breaks, try assists and so forth, but the play just doesn't really seem to be coming to him there. But shit, he gets involved, does his job. People talk that he's, he just doesn't do anything. But 114 metres puts him right up there with the, quality meter eaters at centre in the comp. There's only probably 3 or 4 guys like RTS, Bradman Best and the like are up around the 170 mark, but anything up well up over 100, I'm happy with his effort. Limited errors there, very good on defence. Happy for him to be there as long as we need him. So hopefully this starts to dispel a lot of the haters. Solid 8 from me. And Montoya, a lot of people saying he played significantly better this week. Look, I think he's played solid all year. 80 minutes there, 21 runs, 153 metres, very heartfelt metres. Again, breaking people with ball in hand, knocking guys over, knocking them out. The hell's his name? The back rower there for South, even block a roach, reckon he should have gone off for a head knock, but he didn't. Odd things there. 3 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 4 tackles, 3 missed tackles again, bro. That's why I dropped you down to an 8. But, scrambling and so forth, who knows. But overall, I think he's a very bloody solid player. People talking about Edge should come in for him earlier on this year. I don't think he gets dropped. He'll be there until he gets injured, which I hope he doesn't. You can just see that Webby loves his consistency, his professionalism, and his leadership. Listening to him speak during the week, man, he's just such a really smart, articulate guy who will make guys better around him. So, well done, Marcelo. Another solid effort. Tamati Martin. Shit, I got to say I was a little bit surprised at first when he came in over Chanel, but then thinking about it and hearing Webby pre-game there just talking about the versatility that CHT offers off the bench. And again, people forget how good Tamati Martin was in that first stint before he broke his leg last year, and I think yesterday just showed 80 minutes, 8 runs, 89 metres. First game back, 2 kicks for 33 metres, 1 try assist, 2 line breaks, 4 tackle breaks, 22 tackles and 3 missed tackles, 9 out of 10 for me. Right now, I'm saying if you compare them man for man, he is better than Luke Metcalf. Luke Metcalf's got a lot of upside. He's a guy you invest in long term, got great X factor and speed, but all round, Tamati Martin is a better 5'8", and he's probably better than Chanel, if I'm honest. That said, we haven't really seen Chanel play a full 80, but he's just so solid. Showed he's got a great step. He's got that speed acceleration, but it's those effort areas, his kick chase, his scramble onto the balls, the amount of time he gets to dummy half where we've had a break or we've had to rush back and there's no one at dummy half. He's always the first one there to pick it up. He's straight in that attack up. He's got a really crisp pass. You see him when he gets into dummy half bullet. I think he's going to really solidify himself in that position to the point it's going to be really hard for Metcalf to come back in, halfway through the season there if he stays safe. So I think that's a really great sign when you've got 2 guys that good and you've got Chanel there now that we can use in a utility role when we play Tamati. So outstanding. Couldn't have expected much more of him in his first game back. Sean Johnson, I've said this a couple of times this season. I don't think he stood out as much as he did last year. And I don't think that's a reflection on him playing worse. It's just a reflection on the fact that we're playing better as a team. So not so much as reliant on him. We're seeing other people contribute in other ways. So given a bit of a break there, just the 72 minutes, 13 runs, 111 metres. You see that with the good halfbacks. When Nathan Cleary's had a great game, he's up around 130, 150 metres running. So it was great to see SJ with those metres, particularly off getting those 2 backup tries there, following up a line break, which lifted his metres. So, the 2 try, 5 from 6 conversions, 2 try assists, 2 line break assists, 10 tackles, 1 missed, 1 error, 9.5 for me. His kicking game was clinical, 633 metres, up there with the best meter eaters as far as kicks go in the comp, but set after set after set, pinning them in that right-hand corner. Rocco Berry knocks a guy over as soon as he gets the ball, and they're playing off their bloody try line. Didn't deviate away from it. Once we got up, you could have seen us. You look at the likes of the Broncos and the Storm on Thursday night, helter-skelter, throwing all kinds of shit all over the place, but our tries were structured, manufactured, skillful tries that might not be the helter-skelter, but I just like the way they've done it. I love the way we just grind teams down and we're prepared to stick to our game plan, even when we have a couple of errors or we didn't get those tries in the first half, we just know eventually those gaps are going to open up. We've got a guy like SJ who just puts those balls on a dime, to Jackson Ford, Rocco Berry. His ability, that speed to still be right up there to get the tries there as a supporting player. So 9.5 for me, probably tied with Wade Egan for man of the match. Adam Fanor-Blake, slightly bigger minutes this week, from 50-odd, 54 I think it was last week, up to 62 this week. 16 runs, 178 metres, average run per metres per run, right up there, 75 post-contact. 4 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 24 tackles, no misses again. I think that's 2 weeks in a row without a miss. 9 out of 10. Look, I still think he's got 20% left in him. Maybe, just what's going on around him. He hasn't quite had his same dominating sort of, close to 200 metres, but he's not been required to play those big minutes, but just doing his fundamentals so damn well. Shame he didn't quite manage to get that ball down when he got over the line, but bro, he's going to leave a frigging great hole when he leaves next year. So 9 out of 10 for me. Wade Egan, shit, that was close to a 10 out of 10 game. 80 minutes. A couple of people asking on social media why they didn't pull him rather than risk injury. I guess it's just the case of they love playing footy. They don't want to come off. 7 runs for 91 metres. 2 line break assists there. 1 offload. 39 tackles, 2 missed. Stats don't talk about just his ability around that ruck to use his eyes and his vision, to deceive the opposition. That pass where he fakes to, I think it was Tohu was running outside and popped it up to CNK coming through the middle. The amount of times he'll look this way and just pop that ball on the money. Outstanding. You can see like the drums are beating stronger and stronger for him to be in state of origin. You'd have to think Api Carousel starts if he's fit. He's got a bit of a adductor injury or something they said last night. Robson hasn't been outstanding since he played Origin last year. Cook definitely not on his game, so there's every chance he can play State of O. Man, it feels so selfish not really wanting to play, not wanting him to get smashed up because we need him so much, but shit, I'd be really proud of him. What a great achievement, first ever hooker from the Warriors to play State of Origin. So, but I tell you what, Mitch Barnett wouldn't be far behind him either with his ability to play prop, lock and second row there. Yep, outstanding. Shit. I'm not sure what you'd need to do to get a 10, but I just still think he's probably even got more in him this year. But anyway, on to Bunty, getting that hammy because he started bloody well, like 61 run meters in 25 minutes. His first stint there, he ran for 40 solid meters there in 20 minutes. Pulled a hammy 5 minutes into a second. But 6 solid runs there, getting the momentum, 28 post-contact meters, more than he's had so far this year. 17 tackles he's credited for. But I counted it in the first 3 sets, or the first set of the game, he was involved in every tackle. 3 tackles, I think it was, in the second set, and another 5 tackles in the third set. So he's involved in so many tackles that I've said it so many times, I don't know how they credit it. Is it just the first person who makes contact who gets credited for the tackle? But he would have made 15 tackles in the first probably 5 or 6 sets easily. Game of 7.5 purely because he only played the 25 minutes. Had he played longer, I think he would have got more. I thought it was his best game he's played of first grade for a long time, and just like I said, such a shame he's done that hammy. So he won't be there next week. Really curious to see what happens there. But unlucky Bunty, you did well, brother. Apologies for calling you out the other week, but I'm glad you stepped up. Jackson Ford, another beast mode performance. Only 77 minutes. I didn't even notice him go off there. 14 runs, 104 metres, 37 post-contact, a try, a line break, 4 tackle breaks, 41 tackles, 2 miss, 1 error and a penalty. What a machine. Got to be one of the best workhorse edges in the comp at the moment. He's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And listening to that interview with him during the week, talking about, Webby asked him to come and have lunch while he was still at Penrith after he'd been announced as the Warriors coach. and said that he told him more about his game than he knew about himself. Told him more about his game than any other coach that he'd played for had told him about his game, even though Webby wasn't even his coach yet. I mean, you can just see his, he credits Webby with his ability to turn his career around. It was basically, it sounded like he was giving it one last crack because he didn't think he was ever going to make it as a first choice first grader. So it also sounds like he's really getting into New Zealand as well, getting into the Māori culture and stuff. So I was a bit worried there he might have been homesick, but it sounds like he's really settled in. So hopefully he might be around for longer than just the 2 years he's extended for. 8.5 out of 10. Again, shit, what more could you really ask for? But I think he'll have that massive game in him at some stage. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays State of Origin in a couple of years' time. With the way he works, he's an 80-minute guy you could have in an edge there that would just tackle all day. But yeah, outstanding. Mitch Barnett going out onto an edge this week for the initial stint there. Thought it was tough for him out there on that edge there with 3 completely new partners, not used to playing together there, so they didn't really trust each other a little bit when they were getting the breaks put on them. But I thought he was bloody serviceable, but I think he was actually better once he went back to prop. His ability around that middle to get involved in the tackles he gets through. 13 runs there for 129 metres, 50 post contact, 1 tackle break, 1 offload, 34 tackles. I think probably a third of those would have been in the time he spent in the middle there, which was probably only 20% of his time on the field. 1 missed tackle and 1 penalty, 8.5. Just continues to impress me. The workload, the work ethic, the controlled aggression this year, ball retention, reduction in errors in his game, outstanding. Look to him to move back into prop next week though, hopefully with Capewell coming back in, if not Laban potentially starting there on an edge. Tohu Harris with another mighty performance, 80 minutes again, 16 runs, 117 metres, 39 post contact, so not as big as metres ever, but I think he just played a really good distribution role and was allowed, we were just getting the momentum, particularly from our backs, that he wasn't having to do so many yards up the middle there. 32 tackles, it seemed like he was on holiday from his normal 40 or 5 odd there. 1 missed tackle. His distribution was much crisper. His interlink there was really, really solid. 8.5, I don't think it's one of those games where he really just delivered everything. If a normal player had delivered that effort, I probably would have given him a 9.5, but for Tohu, I think it was a real serviceable game, but still got more in him there that will allow for those massive games that he's going to have during the season that are worth of a 9.5 or a 10. Excellent effort from the big bro, as always. Then to the bench, Chanel Harris-Tavita just with the 9 minutes here at the end. 1 kick for 25 metres and 6 tackles, none missed. A couple of big shots into the ribs there again. It's a bit of a shame he gets such limited time, but covering vital positions like the halves or hooker. When you're on a roll like that, you're not going to just pull them off for the sake of it. But man, what a player to have on the bench there that can just come on and just sink in no matter where he goes on. He's played hooker, he's played 5/8, he's played halfback. He can play 13, you name it. So I think we continue to see him on the bench there, particularly Freddie's going to be out for a few weeks after snapping Elias's leg there. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but it was a clear attempted charge down for me, so he may get away with it. I mean, some people just say, no, you can't attack him, but I don't think he was attacking. I think he was genuinely going for the ball, but Elias just kicked through. I think his shin caught Freddie's knee, just snapped his leg in half. So yeah, we won't expect to be having Freddie on the bench for a while, so I hope bloody Wade Egan stays in good shape, but we know that we've got Chanel here to cover for the foreseeable future. Tom Arne, 24 minutes, 9 runs, 100 metres, 45 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, 10 tackles, 1 miss, 1 penalty, 8 out of 10. Even though he had the limited minutes, I had to give him an 8 because he's making a solid impact. People calling for him to start, but I do like him coming off the bench there, using that full work off against tired middles. He's just going to continue to get better. He'll continue to build his power, and I think he's really starting to show what we hoped he would through last year when he went down into that little bit of a slump. He's going to be an outstanding bench prop for the foreseeable future, and just going to get better and better. So well done to him. I'm giving him an 8, as I said. Jazz Tavanga, I was texting a mate watching the game. I could just hear all those social media bandits there. Oh, fucking useless Jazz. Oh, get rid of Jazz, blah, 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 because he makes 2 errors. Yeah, he took his eye off the ball on that one from Tohu. It was on his hip. It was a very similar one to Jackson Ford the other week, man. People, it's easy to criticise that. Full speed, like with, big props standing in front of you. Mistakes happen. CNK had 2 errors, but people were not talking about that because he does a lot of flashy shit. But a guy like Jazz or Jackson, for some reason, people love to jump all over their errors. Maybe it's just the timing. The second one, I went back and watched it in slow motion, and Cook and Wiley Old Fox punched the friggin' ball in contact. Um, Very hard to defend against that. I've seen Jazz do it often enough to other people. So, yes, I love him, but I'm going to defend him on the fact that he delivered 100 metres, 32 post contact, 15 tackles. That for the first time this week, I felt like when AFB went off, we maintained the middle. In fact, we accelerated out and put points on the board. So big props to him and Tom Ali for really stepping up and winning the middle as our bench prop. So Jazz been a big part of that. I think that you can't underestimate the speed he plays with. He's the one who got that um, really quick ball, play the ball away that allowed us to get that try where Egan passed that little pop pass to CNK up the middle there. So there's so many things that guys like him and Jackson do so well, but for some reason fans just love to focus on the negatives. Um, they're not going to drop him when Bunty's out next week, and we still don't know if Walker's back, right? So you've got to have a prop cover there. But like anyone, he'll be pissed off that he's dropped those balls and he'll be working on it. Hence, I gave him a 7. I think on effort he was up there with Tom Allen. I would have given him an 8 had he not dropped those balls. So you got to recognise it, you got to fix it. But shit, can't question the heart and the effort there. Jacob Laban on debut. Man, he looked like he was a boy who was meant to be there. I was a little bit worried heading into that cauldron-like atmosphere there. We know that South can be as rabid as anyone out there as far as giving the opposition players shit. But man, he stepped up. Didn't look overwhelmed. Didn't look physically out of his depth. In fact, he looked like he had some power over some of those first graders, bumping off Cody Walker there, who came back with a forearm to the face to kind of remind him where he was at. 31 minutes, 5 runs, 38 metres, but of those 24 post-contact metres, 2 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 7 tackles and 1 miss. So he wasn't heavily involved, but we saw a couple of really good passes there where he jumped in, as part of a shape. His kick chase was up there, jumping on the back of Rocco every time he made a tackle, right up there behind him. So I think he's definitely one for the future. Luckily for him, unlucky for us. With a guy like Bunty going out, there's every opportunity he could end up staying on the bench this week. Capewell comes back, he'll go into the starting position there. But a chance for him to really get some solid experience here and cement himself over the coming weeks, with Marata out for up to 8 weeks. So well done to Jacob. I'm really proud of him. I gave him 8 out of 10. Not the biggest numbers in the world, but to come in, step up in an environment like that, show you meant to be there. I couldn't have expected much more. Just to wrap things up, overall, I thought it was just closest to an 80-minute effort we've put on. The first half, it seemed, watching live, it was scrappy, and we're making a lot of errors. But when you went back, I watched it the second time, we were much more in control than it seemed live. We didn't get those points, which starts to make people, freak out. Like I think we had about 4 sets in a row there, and we didn't end up getting any points out of it. But we just stuck to our plan all night. Very hard-headed in that we didn't panic. When they got half breaks on us or line breaks other than the one try, we scrambled. Nothing about our defence looked panicked. Like I said, it was a little bit ragged on the right edge there, but when you've got 3 guys, 2 of whom who haven't played on in those positions for bloody ages, that shit will only get better. RTS, hasn't played on the wing since back in his last couple of games here before he went to rugby union. So looking into next week, I saw Jazz also go off, put his hand up. I couldn't quite see what he'd done, whether it was an ankle or something, but he wasn't icing it on the bench and he was walking around after the game, but he did go straight off. And we know Bunty will be out. I hope Jazz will be there. So what are we expecting? Dell and I would say he comes back, but again, I wouldn't rush him necessarily if he's not 100%. We want him fully fit, but if he's fit, he comes back in there, RTS back into the centres. Adam Pompey, unfortunately, will probably drop out there. I expect Tamati Martin to start again there at 5'8", and that's close to our best backline I think we can put on the park. As far as the forwards go, I expect Barnett to go back into prop with AFB. Egan's obviously going to be there. Assuming Capewell's going to be back on his edge with Jackson Ford and Tohu. That leaves us with the bench is going to definitely be CHT this week, as I said, for the next few weeks with Freddie out. Then we're probably looking at Jazz, Jacob Laban, and Tomari as our bench on the weekend. If for some reason Jazz is out, then the question comes in, who comes into the prop cover position there? My first thoughts would be Kalani going. Another calls out for Zion, but I still feel like he's a little bit short of fitness for first grade level there. He's got a lot of potential in him, but I think he might need another year before you'd want to rush him in. I don't know. But Kalani going, he's proven that he's been there, and he can cover lock, and you can rotate Tohu into prop there. If you want an out-and-out prop, do we go for Tupanua or Stowers Smith? Of those, I'm probably going Kalani if it's me. I'm not too panicked about it, but I think Jazz should be all right, as I said, if he wasn't icing. So expect to see CHT, Jazz, Ali, and Laban on the bench next week. Up against Manly, who did a number on the Panthers last night. I think it'll be tough for them to replicate that. Daly Cherry Evans milestone match, they're becoming the highest ever, having the most ever games for Manly. Everyone got up from him. He played just one of those games where everything you touch turns to gold. Whether they can repeat that again on the road, the Panthers weren't on their game. They didn't have Cleary there. Shit. I think we've still got more than enough to beat Manly. We can match them in the middle there. They've got a lot of speed out wide. Hopefully we see Dylan Walker coming back in soon. Hopefully Capewell's back this week. Marata, get well soon, brother. Bunty, get well soon, bro. For now, I'm happy. I'm content. See you all again on Team Naming Tuesday. Up the mighty Wars, onwards and upwards. I think we're in 4th position now. Let's solidify that and stay there for the rest of the year. Up the mighty New Zealand Warriors.